You think if she has zero interest now, all you need is the right move, the right text, the right timing, and suddenly everything changes. But if that is how you see it, you are already losing, because attraction is rarely built by tricks and almost never built by desperation. You think winning her over means making her notice you more. The truth is harsher than that. It means becoming so grounded, so clear, so self respecting that her lack of interest either transforms naturally or becomes irrelevant to your peace. If you need reminders like that, subscribe now because you do not need more dating fantasy. You need truth when your ego gets loud. You need clarity when rejection bruises you. You need someone to remind you that your life is too valuable to waste, begging for energy that has not been earned. Here's what it really means. Going from zero interest to strong desire is not about persuading a woman to feel something she does not feel. It is about understanding what actually creates attraction, what destroys it, and how most men kill their chances before anything real has room to grow. The misconception is that attraction comes from effort alone. The hard truth is that attraction responds far more to energy, identity, emotional steadiness, and self respect than to performance. That is what most men never learn. So, what do they do instead? They chase harder, they explain more, they overinvest faster. They try to be funnier, nicer, more available, more impressive, more useful, more agreeable, and the more they do it, the worse it gets. Why? Because when a woman feels no real pull toward you yet, extra effort without extra value does not create desire. It creates pressure. It creates imbalance. It creates the silent feeling that you want something from her before she has felt safe, intrigued, or emotionally moved enough to give it. That's called premature investment. And premature investment makes you look emotionally expensive before you have become emotionally compelling. That is where men break. You think persistence is romantic, but sometimes it is just refusal to read reality. You think more attention shows confidence, but sometimes it shows fear. You think being constantly available proves care, but sometimes it proves you have no center. You think chasing shows passion, but sometimes it reveals need. Need kills mystery. Need kills respect. Need kills polarity. That does not mean a man should be cold. It does not mean he should play dead, go silent, or act like he feels nothing. That fake, detached act fools weak men more than it fools women. No, the answer is not less sincerity. The answer is more self-possession. Because here is the hard truth most men hate. If she has zero interest, your first job is not to convince her. Your first job is to become honest. Honest about what she actually sees when she looks at you. Honest about whether your attention is calm or craving. Honest about whether your life has momentum or whether you are secretly hoping she becomes the meaning you failed to build. That is the root cause of the problem. Most men do not fail because they are unattractive. They fail because they are uncentered. They want her too quickly. They project too much too early. They get emotionally loud before any real bond exists. They turn one conversation into a fantasy, one smile into a sign, one polite reply into a whole imagined future. That's called attachment to projection. And once you get attached to projection, you stop seeing the woman clearly and start chasing the version of her your loneliness invented. You stop observing. You stop listening. You stop calibrating. You stop respecting the pace of reality. You stop. And now you are no longer relating from strength. You are negotiating from hunger. That is why zero interest stays zero interest for so many men. Not because women are impossible, not because dating is broken, but because a hungry man leaks urgency, and urgency without substance feels heavy. A woman may not always be able to explain it in perfect language, but she can feel it. She can feel when your attention is not just attention. She can feel when it is need wrapped in politeness. She can feel when you are trying to get from her what you should have built within yourself first. And what does that cost you? Everything that matters. It costs you peace, because now your mood depends on whether she replies. It costs you discipline, because your focus keeps drifting back to someone who has given you very little. It costs you dignity, because you start doing more for less. It costs you self-respect, because every time you ignore reality to protect your fantasy, you train yourself to betray your own standards. And then you call that romance. No, that is not romance. That is self-abandonment. So let's reframe the whole thing. The real path from zero interest to strong desire is not about becoming better at pursuit. It is about becoming more magnetic in the deepest sense. Not louder, not slicker, not more manipulative, more real, more grounded, more directed, more difficult to shake. Because desire grows around emotional gravity. It grows around a man who has weight, not noise. A man whose presence says, I know who I am. I know where I'm going. I can appreciate you without collapsing into you. That changes everything. Because women are not only responding to what you say, they are responding to what your life feels like. Are you centered or scattered? Are you present or performing? Are you interested or already attached? Do you speak to connect or do you speak to impress? Do you move with calm direction or does your entire nervous system start sprinting the second she gives you a little attention? These things matter more than your lines ever will. A woman can feel when a man is trying to win her, but she can also feel when a man is simply being himself at a high level. That difference is massive. One feels like pressure, the other feels like ease. One feels like agenda, the other feels like groundedness. One says, please choose me so I can feel like enough. The other says, I know my value, and if there's alignment here, it can unfold. That is the energy that creates room for attraction, not force, space, not anxiety, stability, not chasing, depth. And now picture the man who understands this. He does not walk into a room looking for approval. He walks in already approved by his own standards. He is not trying to dominate every conversation. He listens. He notices. He speaks when he has something worth saying. He is not fake mysterious. He is simply not overeager. He does not rush to fill silence because silence does not threaten him. He does not over-explain his value because he has already built a life that reflects it. He has purpose, he has routines, he has direction. He has boundaries. He has enough self-respect not to turn attraction into a performance review of his worth. That man is powerful because he is unavailable to desperation. He can flirt without forcing, he can pursue without begging, he can show interest without losing discipline, he can accept disinterest without collapsing into bitterness. That is the man who becomes attractive over time, not because he tried to manufacture desire, but because his way of being made people feel something stable, rare, and clean. He has emotional patience, he has restraint, he has standards. He is not easy to bait with attention, and he is not easy to destabilize with indifference. He is not needy enough to be manipulated and not arrogant enough to be blind. He is awake. That is the archetype. And if you want to know how interest grows, study that man. Because strong desire often begins where most men are too weak to stay. In patience, in tension, in uncertainty without overreaction. In allowing curiosity to build instead of trying to rush attraction into existence. Most men do too much too soon. They text too often, reveal too quickly, invest too heavily. They bring relationship energy into a dynamic that has not even earned basic intrigue yet, and then they wonder why it feels dead. It feels dead because you suffocated it. Attraction needs room. Intrigue needs contrast. Respect needs boundaries. Desire needs emotional oxygen. If your whole energy says, I'm all in before you've shown me anything, then what exactly is she supposed to respect? Your enthusiasm? Your availability? Your willingness to hand over value without standards? No, that reads as cheap. And cheap things do not trigger strong desire. Now hear this clearly. Sometimes zero interest really does mean zero interest. Sometimes there is no hidden path, no slow burn possibility, no future opening. And a strong man can handle that. He does not take every lack of interest as a challenge to his ego. That's called narcissistic pursuit. He does not need to convert every woman. He does not need to prove his value by changing someone's mind. He can accept what is. He can move on cleanly. That is strength. But when interest can grow, it usually grows under very specific conditions. She sees consistency. She feels your groundedness. She notices you are not trying to extract validation from her. She experiences you as emotionally safe, but not emotionally weak, self-respecting, but not rigid, interested, but not thirsty, warm, but not clingy. Over time, that registers. Over time, curiosity replaces indifference. Over time, respect creates space for attraction. That is how this works in reality, not fantasy, reality. So, what do? You stop trying to win her over like she is a prize at the end of a performance. You stop broadcasting need. You stop forcing momentum. You stop treating every interaction like a final test of your worth. Then you redirect. Build a life that feels complete without her. Sharpen your body, clean your habits, fix your posture, slow your speech, deepen your focus, protect your routines, become harder to emotionally knock off center. Do this. When you interact with her, be present, not overeager. Say less, mean more. Ask with curiosity, not interrogation. Hold eye contact without pleading for reaction. Let pauses exist. Do not rush to fill every gap with effort. Do not text just to stay visible. Do not explain yourself into attraction. Do not offer emotional intensity before emotional reciprocity exists. Do this. Watch what she responds to. Watch whether she leans in or stays polite. Watch whether her energy grows or stays flat. Watch patterns, not moments. If there is warmth, meet it with calm. If there is distance, respect it with dignity. If there is confusion, do not feed it with more pursuit. Do this. Keep your standards even when you like her, especially when you like her. That line matters. Because weak men have standards only until desire shows up. Then everything collapses. Boundaries disappear. Discernment disappears. Self-respect disappears. And then they wonder why they feel small around someone they wanted to impress. You feel small because you made her the judge. Take back the bench. You decide what deserves your energy. You decide what earns your time. You decide whether a connection is clean enough to continue. You decide whether your peace is being protected or traded away. That is not arrogance. That is self-leadership. And self-leadership is attractive because it signals maturity. It tells the world you are not an emotional drifter waiting for outside validation to give you identity. You already have one. That is what women feel, not just confidence, coherence, not just charm, direction, not just attraction, stability. That's called masculine gravity, and masculine gravity changes the room without needing to announce itself. Now let's get even more honest. If you are trying to win over a woman from a place of emptiness, even success will not save you, because then you do not just want her interest, you need it. You need her to validate the self you have not built. You need the relationship to rescue you from boredom, loneliness, lack of mission, lack of discipline. And when that is the case, even if she starts desiring you, you will still lose. Why? Because your dependence will rot the connection from the inside. You will become reactive. You will become controlling. You will overread everything. You will turn normal fluctuations into personal threats. You will make her responsible for regulating a life you refuse to take command of. That's called emotional outsourcing. And no healthy connection survives that for long. So the deeper work is not about her, it is about the man you become in the presence of desire. Can you stay anchored? Can you stay truthful? Can you stay patient? Can you let attraction build without trying to seize it with both hands? Can you accept uncertainty without performing? Can you remain valuable even when you are not immediately wanted? That is the real test. And passing that test changes you forever. Because then your power is no longer tied to fast results. It is tied to deep alignment. You stop asking, how do I get her to want me? And start asking, am I showing up as a man whose energy creates trust, respect, and possibility? That question is cleaner, stronger, more honest. It puts the focus back where it belongs, on your character, on your conduct, on your center. And from that place, something beautiful happens. You stop chasing intensity and start creating quality. You stop forcing chemistry and start embodying value. You stop trying to be selected and start becoming selective. You stop seeing women as the source of your worth and start meeting them from your worth. That shift is everything. Because when a man becomes grounded enough, even rejection stops humiliating him. It informs him. It refines him. It teaches him. He does not spiral. He adjusts. He learns. He moves. He keeps building. And that is why he becomes more attractive over time. Not because he memorized tricks, but because life forged him into someone real. So if you are standing in that place right now, wanting to turn zero interest into strong desire, hear me carefully. Do not make the mistake of chasing from weakness and calling it courage. Courage is not over pursuing someone who has not shown up. Courage is facing yourself. Courage is building a life so solid that your interest becomes a gift, not a plea. Courage is staying open without becoming needy, staying warm without becoming available to disrespect, staying honest without becoming performative. That is how you win her over, if she can be won over at all. And if she cannot, you still win because you kept your center, because you told the truth, because you did not bargain with your dignity, because you became more of a man instead of less. That is the deeper victory. So stand up straight, slow your mind down, stop fantasizing, stop overreaching, stop making one woman the gateway to your self-respect. Redirect your energy into becoming undeniable to yourself first. Build the body, build the discipline, build the mission, build the emotional control, build the life that makes your presence feel substantial before you ever ask anyone to feel desire. You are the answer, not the perfect text, not the perfect timing, not the perfect strategy. You, your self-respect, your groundedness, your ability to stay whole in the presence of uncertainty, your refusal to chase what has not earned pursuit, your willingness to become the kind of man whose energy creates attraction without betraying himself to get it. That is the answer. And if you want more truth like this, subscribe, because you need reminders when your emotions try to drag you back into fantasy. You need clarity when your ego wants fast results. You need a voice that brings you back to discipline, standards, and peace. And if you are building that kind of life, that kind of masculine self-respect, that kind of grounded power, then you belong here. Stay close, stay sharp, stay around people who would rather tell you the truth than feed you illusions. That is how you stop chasing desire and start becoming the man who can hold it.